This is for people who've just bought an IMICA, a Silent IMICA. This is what you're going to get. Right, as you can see, I've got a whole load of them stacked up the back here. Good news, it's selling. Thanks to everyone for backing it. Right, so I thought I'd just do this so to make it easy for people, so when you get it, you know what you're going to get. So this is the standard version. So let me open it up. Okay. Right, so I hope you can see all this. So it comes in a nice little box, and we open it up inside the packaging. Now, this is a guide for you. It's just to tell you what all the everything on the motherboard is about. If you're not going to touch it, doesn't matter. There's an Intel driver in case you ever want to install Windows on it, okay, or anything else. There's some drivers in there for you. There's a sticker here, Intel Atom. Don't stick it on, but you know, it's up to you. You've got that. And inside, let's do this way, right? So inside, back plate. Okay, if you want to, at some point you want to put it in a normal case, there's your back plate. SATA cable, what it is. SATA cable. Yeah, if you decide to buy yourself a drive for it, there you go. The power cable is also, sorry, I'll shut up there, hang on. Right, inside here, this bag here, if you open it up, we have the power adapter. One goes on the motherboard, one goes to a normal connector, and one's a SATA connector. And also there's the little frame there for you to, as you see all these standing upright, that's for that. And inside here's your power lead, power block, sorry. You need to put a, now the UK versions of these, they do come with a power lead. But when we send them abroad, we don't, obviously. But for one thing, it keeps the weight down, because the magic thing with this, if it's under 2 kilos, we get it for a much lower rate. So I don't include the cable because it's pointless, you might as well throw it away. So we don't include the European, US, etc, etc. But this is a version of a power brick that will plug into 110 volts and 240 European volts, so it covers everywhere. So that's in there. And of course this is the frame. I'm not taking out the bags, I think you can see what it is. This screws on the back of your monitor. I don't know if you saw in the video, but if you screw it on the back of your monitor, you can drop the unit into it. And that's pretty neat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through with this video, just setting it up, and first sort of 5 minutes with the unit, so you'll hopefully up and running pretty quick. Okay, right, so we'll put that over here for a second. In fact, let's open this up, shall we? I'm doing this because in case no one else bothers. Okay. Right, now, this is a standard version. You've probably all seen this before. Nice little logo on the front. Okay, now we ship them with, by default they don't really go with a hard drive. We send them out with a, in fact, one second, I'm going to climb right front here. How professional was that? They come with one of these little USB stick. The reason for doing this was because to get to £199 was really tight. I mean, we don't make much margin on these anyway, but we just know what we could do it with a hard drive in it, and we would have had to push it to 249. So, but the great thing about this is it does actually work. And it's very useful. A 4 gig stick plugs in the bag, boots from it. You can save to it. It's just like your normal hard drive. It's not quite as quick as a hard drive, obviously. Reading's pretty good. Writing's a little bit slower. Key thing to bear in mind is they're always the same we ship out, and that little bit there, that white bit, will flash. If it's flashing, don't turn the power off. If it's flashing, in fact, don't ever pull it out because the system obviously needs it. But if it's flashing, for God's sake, don't pull it out. Don't turn it off. Because that's obviously right into the disk, and there is a potential for causing corruption of data. So that's one little thing, and it also flips away nicely. So and the great thing about this is you can pull it out, you can go up to your mate's machine, assuming it's supported, you can plug it in the back boot from it, and you can show him AROS. Okay, so it's actually a really nice little thing to come with it. Right, so right on the back, just a reminder, okay, just a quick reminder. VGA port. The DVI port is not supported yet with the driver. I think you'll find the VGA ones are. I haven't actually tried that, to be fair, but I'm pretty sure it will. But the GMA driver at the moment doesn't support this. It hopefully will in the future at least. Okay, so you've got your VGA port, which you use that. plug your power into there. There's 3 USBs, Ethernet, sound output. Now, there's no sound input on these units. Okay, the reason for that is that well, it's a tiny little thing, and it's really meant for as a player. There is a connector on board, so there is a potential for actually doing an input as well, which we could use a small hole. Okay, so maybe if people really actually want to be able to record from these, I might make an adapter from the internal connection. But this is for a wireless adapter, an internal wireless adapter. Now, at the moment, we don't have wireless in AWOS anyway. In the future, I may do it, but it might be a bit expensive. But I don't know what they're going to cost yet, so we'll bear that in mind. But yeah, so that's the back. There's your front. Right, so I'm just going to start it up. TV's ready. Let's switch this on. So switch on the back. Okay, so you can see. Let me just scroll up a little bit so you can see the lights on there. Okay, it takes a few seconds, and here it comes. I'm just going to level this up now. Now, I'm just going to stop that for a second. Okay, now, obviously we've got the GMA driver on this, so which is the one you want to use, but you'll notice I've got it set to legacy. Now, the reason for this is there are some monitors that the default setting on the GMA driver don't automatically work. It's only on some monitors, and funny enough, 3 of mine are fine, 1 actually isn't. So bear this in mind. So that's why I've done this on default on here. So you don't need to leave it in this mode. And I'm going to show you in a minute how to change that default setting. Okay, but for now it will default. Now this should work on everything. Okay, so these 2 modes are just the default. So I'm going to scroll up with the keyboard up to the Intel GMA, and now I'm going to hit the enter key, and that's going to now log me in. Okay, right, now let me try and ignore that. Here we go. Right, so splash screen. The first thing I'll do is I'll just quickly show you how to change that default setting, but I'm going to run you through some basics of how to use system. Anyway, now in the GMA, bear in mind in a future release Michael's going to tweak this. I've asked him to tweak this so it uses a more generic, it's using a generic VGA, and modern monitors sometimes don't support it too well. So you can see now we've got the boots up and running. Now if we click on the AWOS drive and go to preferences, open up preferences, screen mode. Now I'm going to change this to something that suits my monitor here, because it's obviously quite a big one, but there's loads of screen modes here. But I'm going to do a 1920 by 1080p, click save, to close that, press restart. There we go. So now we've got the big display. Now you'll notice my image, because this is actually, I put this it's a 1280 1024 image on there for you, so you've got that, but I'm obviously bigger screen resolution. So let me just go into preferences. I'm just going to change this. Now there's an awful lot of things you can do in here. I would suggest you can play with it but don't save anything, because by default it's set up to work. But if I click on Wanderer for example and go to appearance, click on the workbench, I'll just have a quick look, see if I've actually loaded it in there for you. Yeah, there we go. So I've got a 1921 in there. So click OK. Okay, I'm just going to click use on this. Okay, and then update. There you go. So that's using the new display mode. Right, so that's how you change that. Now for changing the AHI, it should already be working, but we click on here so you can hear there's a sound. You want the HD audio driver set in, and this is fine, it's set to there on 48 kHz. Go to music 0. I've got 4 channels set. You can put more, but 4 will be plenty. So just press play sound. That's working fine. Networking, if again this is already set up, so if you click on that, go to networking, you can see my device, RTL 8169, which is the driver we're using on